Alright, welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak Nigeria on television Nigerian, and it's time for us to shift to the next discourse. We're looking at the recent list of nominees sent to the National Assembly by Mr. President for the chairman and board members of the NDIC. And we have in the studios Majid Bakare, who is a senior correspondent with Order Paper, and they cover the National Assembly. Let's look at the list being sent, list of nominees sent by Mr. President. If you look at the issue, the rift between the National Assembly and the executive, are you convinced these nominees will be confirmed, or you see something else going to be brewing? And we have in the list a very interesting character, Festus Keyamo, who has always been against seemed to be an activist against the federal government in the past. And to some critics, they say from the moment he got his Senior Advocate of Nigeria title, he just went mellow down. What are your expectations?
Well, I think I'm going to start, a little bit probably from if the NDIC nominees have been sent to the Parliament without Festus Keyamo's name being on there. I'm not sure we're talking about it this morning, and it shows you critically whether at this particular time when we're already close to electioneering, every little bit that happens gets magnified on the basis of the political rancor. But I'm not going to just stick to that one alone. I think Festus Keyamo, for any day, anytime, is a man who has paid his due. If you look around in terms of his activism. So if you now move away from activism and start getting involved in it, because it is much more easier to sit on the on the fence and just pass it around. Believe me, it's always very, very easier. But now you're coming into the fold. You've said a lot of things. Now it's now for you to put it into practice, and that is where it becomes very, very tricky. He has been consistent in supporting the president. I follow him on Twitter, and his timeline has always been. I think he would have made a much more good spokesperson for the president, in my own opinion, than Garba Shehu combined with Femi Adesina. His message always on point, a little bit just moderate enough to pass the message across. So his appointment for me, it was not really, really surprising going into 2019 as the DG in the first place. So it all works within what the mind frame of the president as to how he sees issue of board. He has always seen it as not the most important component of governance, but rather some sort of something for the boys kind of approach. So it just fits into the narrative. But because we have electioneering coming in, we have this sort of magnifying the whole exercise. But let me not go to the Senate part. Definitely, it is only anybody who is naive that is going to say, oh, you're doing this thing for the politics. Everything is politics. And at the end of the day, it's all about interest. And if the Senate, which if they use it as some sort of a leverage and say, so look, we have Omagige issues to sort out, which you've not been cooperative. We have the IG of police, which you've not been cooperative. We are not going to do anything for you until you give us some of those things. And I think within the confine of political alignment and realignment, it is a legitimate approach to governance, because it might look childish or look selfish, but if you explore the alternative, which the alternative is to the Omagige's approach, it always leads to disaster. But a bit of politics here and there, it's never done anybody any form of harm. And I'm sure they would, but the president too has failed in some aspect in dealing with the National Assembly. In networking, we always call there something we call schmoozing. He has not been doing that well. Is that enough for you to have Dogara and Senator Bukola Saraki once in a while for a meeting? You must be able to, a little bit of part in the back, more of, meeting there with a certain caucus head to suit them and say, okay, this is belonging to all of us. Because personally, I've not seen any reason why a party could be controlling the presidency of the Senate and the House of Representatives should be having problems. It shouldn't be. There should be some sort of synergy, and that synergy has been completely missing in this administration. And the president having a meeting a couple of days with the heads of the two chambers shows you that probably is beginning to learn the rope of politics, but as they say, probably is learning a bit too late. A spray is not too late for him.
I just wanted to ask the debate between the National Assembly and the executive. What does this portend for our democracy?
It has. The essence of having, the principle of democracy is actually founded on philosophy, not on law. It's about having a system that will be so separated from one another, but interlinked in a way that is to maintain a fulcrum, a balance at which it stands. So disagreement between the arms of government is not always a bad thing. And I think at times police look at it as a good thing because it engenders a robust argument and discussion about policies being taken. But it now depends on how you manage it. And what has been consistently missing is how we manage it. You see a side trying to use the force, which is in most cases always on the side of the executive, trying to force their way through. We've seen it during the Obasanjo's era, and we've seen the kind of chaos that followed it. And we've seen an abstinence on the part of this administration to say, oh, do whatever you have to do, and we just shun you. And we've seen that it has been a disaster. But when you have a robust synergy between that, it has cost us dearly. This is me. We've not had the budget passed. We've not had a lot of things done. We still have some of the constitutional provisions, still ongoing that has not gotten to the final destination. Our Electoral Act amendment is stuck there because of one single part of the whole amendment process, which is the mundane part of it that is truncating the essential part of it. So a disagreement that is not based on ideology, that is not based on a genuine look at things, it always portends a dangerous significance for democracy. But it's are those disagreements necessary? The only reason why you put 469 people into a place to have conversation is to have a conversation that is diverse, and diversity must bring a lot of rancor, and ultimately we'll all disagree to agree. But if disagreement is not coming too many a time than agreement, and then it becomes the problem.
All right. Would you be surprised with the meeting the president had with Dogara and Saraki? Do you think it's going to be to the favor of Dino Melai to say, okay, in exchange you confirm my nominees, Melai goes free, and if suddenly we begin to see the IG attend to the summon and Dino's case begins to water down, can we now believe that there was a truce in the meeting?
It will be delicate, and I'll tell you one of the reasons why it's going to be very, very delicate. And politics is always more like web, where you have a link here, you have another link here going separate directions. Now, it should not be on the basis of the value and say, what dollar bill can I place on this relationship against that relationship? And that is where the whole links lie. You know that without being speculative, there is a big rift between Dino Melaye and the governor of the state. And now the president would need to evaluate and say, which one do I value most in this relationship? A governor or a senator?
Okay.
Now, if the senator...
So the nominees do not come into the picture?
It does come, because Igbo people, I don't know if I'm going to get it right, they say politics is game of Ndoro. That means you pull to this side, I pull to that side. So it's all about pulling to which other sides that favors them. But I'm not really seeing the significance. Now, let me make this thing very, very clear. The process of legislative activities in Nigeria, it's terribly slow on it. So be it they're playing politics or they are not, it has always been slow. You send nominees, the committees take long to get things done. So naturally it's going to be slow. But like I said, political time or electioneering time, the more we get closer, the more issues that normally we're not supposed to sit down here and be discussed. Because I can't remember the last time a list of NDIC really gets this kind of traction. But it's getting it because, number one, you have a spokesperson for re-election of a particular candidate and that particular candidate is still an aspirant, because nobody is saying that there are no other elements within the parliament who might be interested in taking their shot at the presidency. So it's a little bit of at the time of politics, but ultimately I'm not really sure that having a board at NDIC is that pressing that you can use it as a leverage to get every single thing. So I think if there's any leverage that is on card to be played, I think it's definitely the budget, but definitely not NDIC.
All right. Before we wrap it up, what will be your expectations for Festus Keyamo if eventually he's confirmed? And if he's not confirmed, do you think he will go the route of other appointees or nominees who decided to resume work without the confirmation of the National Assembly?
It's a delicate one for me. I've always thought that it is always easy to predict politicians, but you've seen them take a lot of. You've seen jumping out of the vehicle. We've seen carrying the maize on Broadway. I'm not saying it was the one that carried the maize, but we're just saying that on the basis of the whole circumstances surrounding it. So I've learned to keep to myself what exactly I am expecting, but ultimately.
But someone like Festus Keyamo, you should, like you said,
Amagege is a barrister and the son of a former judge. But ultimately for me, I think Keyamo fitting into what we call professionals in politics.
Okay.
Ultimately, wherever this appointment leads for him doesn't really matter. He has a career outside politics. So I think for him, if at the end of the day they said no, he can still go on to be a spokesperson, and ultimately he can still go on to move on with his career, which was a career that was already something of envy for any young man out there. So I don't really see it as a do or die situation for him. But I'm sure ultimately the politicians within the National Assembly, they will rally around and pass it, because
all right,
the leverage is not that strong.
In 2 seconds, we'd like to know what has been the mood in the National Assembly, because you cover there, you go there virtually every day. What has been the mood thus far?
You know that our politics is founded on a major fault line, which is ethnicity.
Okay.
So ultimately, no matter the kind of amount of noise that we make, people will always go back to that comfort zone. I am a son of this, I am from this state, I am from, ultimately this is where my alignment must be. But without sounding too, as if I'm contented with what we have, I think this particular National Assembly, as to a large extent, have moved beyond that, because yesterday a member of the Konkusias and group, Honorable Aliyu Madaki, raised a motion on the comments made by Trump on the killing of Christians, and actually knocked the president when he said, I expected my president should have raised and said, Nigerians are being killed, not Christians. So we've seen arguments, we've seen knock coming to the president from the angle of member of his own political party, a member from his own region. So I think to a large extent we've had a very, very robust National Assembly. Is it where we want it to be yet? I think the answer is a definite no. But are we making some sort of progress? Yes, again, but still a little bit too slow. But it's a good one for us.
All right, that's how we call it a wrap. I want to say a big thank you to Majid Bakari, who's a senior correspondent with the other paper. They've covered the National Assembly. That's how we call it a wrap on the discourse on Daybreak Nigeria. My name is Anthony Momoli, saying thank you for being part of the deal, and a special thanks to the entire production team. And last words from Cynthia.
Everything you do, don't forget that to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Television Nigeria, to follow on all our programs and get notified at every single time. And like us on Facebook, Television Nigeria, on Twitter, and of course Instagram at TV Nigerian. My name is Cynthia Agbo. You have yourself a wonderful day.